Got me falling right back.
Hi guys, and welcome to the first review of the Dad Bod Gaming Reviews channel. Happy to be here bringing you this review of Just Cause 4. So, Just Cause 4 was released on December the 4th after some real heavy hitters of the previous month. You are once again in the shoes of Rico Rodriguez as he attempts to free yet another country from an oppressive ruler. Does this new game of Just Cause have anything new to offer, or is it simply the same game, different island? This is where Just Cause 4 is at its strongest. It comes out of the gate with a heart-pulling story with all the destruction anyone can ask for. In this story you travel to the island of Solace with a native of the island called Maria Morales, who has convinced you to uncover the truth about an evil scheme to build weather cores that can generate storms and control the weather, all of which are under control by the ruler of the island, Espinosa. I'm not going to go into full details of the story, which is not because it's not fair on the people that haven't played the game yet. I logged a good 17 hours on the campaign, and I did focus on purely the missions. If I'd have focused on the side missions as well, I could easily have gone past the 20 hour mark. It was a very good and lengthy campaign, has enough explosions to impress Michael Bay, and the new additions to the gameplay like invading neighbouring towns to free them was a welcome addition, but after a while when you realise the enemy army that tries to take the land back, it does feel a bit deflated. In our experience, single player campaigns should give you an hour of fun for every £10 or $1 spent on it. Based on that rating alone, I would give Just Cause 4 single player campaign a solid 9 out of 10. This is where Just Cause 4 starts to falter and trip itself over. While I love blowing stuff up much as the next person, there comes a point with innovation in games, and that is where Just Cause 4 starts to stumble. The game relies too much on the mechanics of the old game, it just feels so much of Just Cause 3 bleeding through. Yes, Just Cause 3 was a good game, and if I had to rate it on our scale it would be a very high 9. But just like Gears of War 4, you either innovate or get forgotten. This game suffers with what I like to call the Star Wars Force Awakens syndrome. It was good, don't get me wrong, but it didn't do much to separate it from the previous editions, and that is what will damage this game in the end. That being said, the simplistic game style and the way you can strap a rocket at animals, and if you're gifted enough your enemies, has to be worth something. The one game this game does really well is beat its chest in a corner and shout, yeah, can your other games do that? I would have to give the gameplay a solid 7. It is good, but takes this as a warning. If we do not see some form of evolution in the next instalment, that one might be the last. The game does nothing wrong in the sound department, but then again, the enemies to Just Cause 3 in this game are very small. Things like the machine gun sounding a little bit better, sounding like you're actually firing a weapon instead of launching thunder. That being said, the explosion sounds, the most important sound in a Just Cause game, seems to have been quieted down from the last one. I tested it with 3 different headsets and adaptive speakers, and every single time it sounded duller than Just Cause 3. But that is your choice if you can learn to live with a quieter boom. For the music and sound, I would give it a 7. Again, it's good, and some of the things that have changed are classed as improvement. For me, I like explosions that could burst eardrums. Okay, the first thing I have to mention is damn, Rico has one emotionless face. He has the most emotionless face in some cutscenes compared to Mass Effect Andromeda when it first came out. It is not every cutscene, but there are more there than there should be, and where he has no emotion on his face. An expression can only be described as constipation. Voice acting is what we've come to expect from Avalanche and Square Enix, on point but still missing that certain thing that made the characters feel so lifelike. The rest of the character animations are superb, and it's a good thing and a bad thing. It's good because it shows they can do it, and it's bad because when Rico turns into Cyber Rico and shows no emotions, it really emphasises how bad it can get. All the cutscenes add a good deal of length to the game, but there isn't a single one I could recall off the top of my hands without my notes. And does that damage the game a little bit? Yeah, I would say so. There are games in the past like Metal Gear, as I said, and the recent Spider-Man release, which I could easily recall 1, 2 or maybe 3 of the cutscenes which dealt some emotional impact. For cinematics, this was a really difficult one to call. I would have to say, yeah, probably another 7. I would give it a 7.
It's my
Now, this is where I have mixed feelings about the game. At some points the game looks absolutely stunning, not Red Dead Redemption stunning, but good enough itself. And then there are other moments where it looks awful, boring, and worst of all, bland. But there is one thing that does creep the rating up, is that in this game he's set after number 3, obviously, and Rico has clearly aged. And if you go and replay number 3, he's a well-built guy. And in this one, well, he has a case of the dad bod. My question is, if he has a dad bod and can still fly around with a hand grappler or a windsuit, where the hell do I order one of them? In Just Cause 3 you spent a good deal of time either on or around water, even though it was annoying when you got dropped in the ocean mile away from land and you had to swim back, which seemed to take a lifetime. But the water in this game commits a greater sin. The water in this game is awful. Absolute awful. Doesn't even have a wake behind your boat anymore. And this they've put in a AAA game. Maybe after a few re-edits and patches they'll probably put another effect in and it won't look as bad. And that is not the only effect that seems to have not made the jump from 3 to 4. In number 3 the grass looked great, it folded down as you walk past it, but now, well, it looks horrible. It doesn't fold, it just sits there, waving. It hardly waves actually sometimes. Graphics are a 6 out of 10 and that is as much as Dadbot can forgive, and those water and grass effects I cannot forgive. If you stacked all the negatives of this game in one corner, the amount of fun you can have in this game massively outweighs the negatives. This game offers high octane thrills at every corner, whether it be chasing a tornado in your favourite motor, or in my case getting blown across the map in your favourite motor by a tornado, or shooting across the desert during a sandstorm. Again, in my case, smacking into a large rock in the desert during a sandstorm. This game offers it in spades. Or maybe you just want something simple like launching an unexpected animal into low orbit. But I did notice after a while that the game is good for raw fun, but I did get bored of it rather quickly, and even though, yeah, spinning an aircraft about 4 million degrees does keep me occupied for an hour or so, or launching an enemy all over the map, but with 4 I didn't get the same satisfaction that I did with 3 out of doing it. With 3 I could spend hours just playing, having fun, walking around, launching people into space with a rocket that's attached to their arse. But in 4 it didn't give the same, so I'm going to have to go for a 7 for fun. Well, while this game does offer up a lot of the fun the third offered in everything with gameplay, there is that feeling at the back of your head where this is an aging game trying to recapture its youth by giving you bigger and better explosions. I don't know. That and the other shortcomings, I'd have to give it a 7. A high 7, but a 7. And in our opinion, I'd wait a little bit longer for the price to drop before picking it up. If you really want those high action funds, just go get the third one. Yeah, it's an aging game, and yeah, it does look a little bit more worse than this, but it's still a good game to launch a cow in the air with. Well guys, thanks for watching our review of Just Cause 4. Please don't forget to subscribe and hit that like button for future content. Thanks guys, and happy gaming.